I've been working on this shipping container home build this week, but I need to take a few moments off because for a lot of you, it's time for some tough love. So many homeowners are dropping the ball, big time, and people who want to be homeowners should hear this too, or anyone who basically wants to live anywhere. As I travel around just looking at people's homes as I drive by, I can tell a lot of you are headed for disaster. And I'm not talking about the good kind of disaster, I'm talking about the bad kind of disaster, the kind that really sucks. I've been meaning to do this video for a while. Last night I had a big reminder as I was out here watching this fire blow up on the other side of these mountains. It started late in the day, blew up in the afternoon winds, then in the evening when the winds died down, it slowed down as they commonly do. We'll see if it blows up again today when the afternoon winds pick up, or see if they're able to get it under control now that it's laid down. There are a lot of homes in that area. You may have figured out by now what we're talking about is wildfire. In the last few years, we have had so many towns burn down. This is not just a homes out in the woods problem. This is an everywhere problem. This is becoming such a huge problem on the West Coast. It's only getting worse, but it's not just a West Coast problem. There are other parts of the country that are fire prone too. Look at Canada. Canada is burning up. Okay, Canada is not part of this country. It's a country of its own. Although South Park says it's not even a real country. But you're going to have to take that up with South Park. That's their deal, not mine. I like Canada. The good news about this kind of tragedy is it's highly preventable. Or maybe I should say you can do a lot to greatly reduce the chances of this happening to you, a bull. The other good news is the things you can do on your property to help keep your home from burning down in a wildfire improves your property in so many ways. It makes it a better place to be. The not so good news is when I look around, see other people's homes, especially in these rural areas, I can see people just aren't getting the message, or at least not enough of them are. Or they are, and they are just ignoring it. Not to get all up on my soapbox here, but I'm getting all up on my soapbox here because I think this is an important message for people to know. So I'm going to show you what I've done around here to make this place fire safe before I even started building. For those who have been watching this channel for a while, you may have watched me work on this project over the winter into the spring. One of the reasons why I did all of this was to help create defensible space before I even started building. To create a surrounding area where it's just going to naturally take all the oomph out of a wildfire before it gets anywhere near your structures. There's something here I'm doing that's different than what a lot of the fire officials say to do. I think one of the big things they're telling people to do is not right. And we'll get into that here in a bit. One of the things the fire people say, which I think is partly right, is to create 100 feet of defensible space around any structure, which I have done here. All the dry grass is mowed down short, down to ground level, beyond 100 feet. If you have the water available to keep that 100 feet around your place green, that's even better. For those of us who have dry grass, this grass is mowed down so low, in the right conditions, this could carry a fire, but there's so little fuel here, it's not going to be an intense fire. Even if there was a fire in a high wind event, there's just not much here to burn. In order for fires to burn, they need things to burn, and we're lacking that here. There's good spacing between the trees. They're not close together. If one tree was to catch on fire, there's enough space between them, it's not likely to spread to the next tree. On this side of the hill, this is the side that is the most susceptible to having an intense wildfire come through. I only left the white oak. Oak trees are not that good at supporting crown fires. Their green leaves just aren't that flammable compared to conifers. If a wildfire was to come into a place like this where the trees really aren't very flammable, they're spaced apart where they can't go from tree to tree, there's hardly anything on the ground for them to burn. What's a poor wildfire supposed to do? It's going to starve to death if it tries to come here. The only other alternative a fire would have if it came to a place like this would be to say, let's get out of here. This place sucks. Let's go burn somebody else's house down. Over on this side, again, everything is mowed down close to the ground, over 100 feet away from any structure. These dry leaves could definitely support a fire, but they're so low to the ground, it's likely going to burn with a low intensity and low flame length. The real danger with this would be if there was a lot of wind, they could catch on fire, the wind would blow them up into the air and into your structure. But we don't want that. I think these leaves are okay to have in the more distant part of your defensible space. One thing they do is they create a mulch and suppress weeds, which could be a bigger fire hazard. But right around your structure, I think you should clean these up. The trees are all spaced out, all the ladder fuels have been removed, the lower limbs that could act like a ladder to carry a fire up into the tree. A fire would have a long way to go before it could reach up into the crowns. There are a few too many trees in here. I plan on taking this Douglas fir out. It's creating continuity between the bigger trees on the right and the bigger trees on the left. We want to make a gap there between them. That was all up there. If we come down here below the garden, where this project is, I was working on this winter. This brings me to what I think a lot of the fire people are not getting right when they talk about defensible space. They say have 100 feet of defensible space around your structures, but with what we have been seeing fires do, now that we have such high fuel loads all over the place, I don't think that's enough. I say not 100 feet, 100 yards. That's what I've done here, is I've created about 100 yards of defensible space. I know 100 yards is not practical for a lot of people. A lot of people don't even have 100 yards of property to go before they'd be in their neighbor's yard. When the fire people say 100 feet, I'm thinking they're probably meaning at least 100 feet. They probably say that for a reason. It's probably a number they came up with that's reasonable for a lot of people. I'm not trying to knock the fire people at all. They're doing amazing work out there. They are the reason we don't have fires all over the place right now. After the lightning storm we had a week and a half ago. It didn't make it out here, but it got close enough that I got some good video of it. There were so many fire starts in the area, but Oregon Department of Forestry and all their partners, they did an amazing job getting those under control. Let's take a closer look at what I did here. Up there closer to structures, everything is mowed down close to the ground, everything is super cleaned up. I think that's a technical term. That 100 feet of defensible space, I have that super cleaned up. But the rest of the 200 feet beyond that, we don't have to have everything super cleaned up. This could carry a fire. What we're trying to do here is make it so it's not going to carry an intense fire. Up there we want it to carry no fire. Down here, I'm trying to reduce the intensity of the fire in that first 200 feet before it gets to that 100 feet of super cleaned up defensible space. Eventually, I want the whole 100 yards to be super cleaned up to be extra safe. But this is a work in progress. Right now, I have it reasonably cleaned up. That's what I did in this area that I was working on over the winter. By opening this up, I was able to extend my defensible space up to 100 yards in this direction from the build area. We're not talking about doing the scorched earth approach here, ripping out all the trees, all the vegetation. Well, in this little area I kind of did that, but all we had here, or most of what we had here, was overcrowded Douglas fir that were dying anyway. So in this spot, I took those out because they don't have any long-term potential. Aside from being a fire hazard and a breeding ground for tree-killing bugs, we're replacing those Douglas fir with these less fire-prone oaks. I had to put these cages around them to keep those four-legged locusts from eating them. They are doing quite well in here. Got another one up there by you, more over there. Even after these oaks grow back up into a forest here, this will be a great place to slow down a fire in this first 200 feet before it even gets to that 100 feet of super cleaned up area where the fire will be easy to stop. The idea is not to wipe out and eliminate the forest 100 yards around the building area, but to maintain a healthy, fire-safe forest 100 yards around the building area. one that continues to provide good habitat. If you want to know more about that, just watch a lot of my past videos and future videos. We do a lot of that kind of thing on this channel. Vegetation management is a big part of keeping your place fire safe, but that's only part of it. We forestry and fire people talk a lot about hazardous fuels reduction, but hazardous fuels are not always the naturally created thing. A lot of times it's junk right up against this thing. If a fire came through here, it's going to catch all this on fire right next to this container that I really don't want to have scorched in a fire. What do we have in here anyway? Old pallet, plastic. I put this plastic here because I was going to put it on the tank on my water wagon to keep algae from growing inside. Just haven't done it yet. Tires, some extra spare tires, some tires. Well, I haven't used any of these in what, 15 years? All these oil jugs that I've been saving because I think I might need them for oil changes on equipment to carry the old oil away. Why do I need to be keeping all these jugs? It's not like I'm running and maintaining a fleet of locomotives or ocean liners out here or anything. Old wood stove and stovepipe, Oscar the Grouch habitat. What kind of a redneck operation am I running out here anyway? One way to look at a junk pile like this, up close to your home, is there anything in this pile that is worth losing your home and all your belongings inside your home and possibly risk the people inside your home over? No, this stuff needs to go. At least move it away from anything that I want to not have burned. It's also a breeding ground for rodents. And my water wagon here, which is supposed to be protection from fire, a fire suppression unit, I have all this plastic covering up the hoses and everything to try to protect it from the sun. It's accumulating all these leaves and debris. My fire suppression unit is becoming a fire hazard right next to what I'm working on. I need to either clean this up or move it away. Then over here on this side of this container, I left these piles of cribbing that I used to unload that container the other day. Right here in my safe from fire zone, right next to the access road. Somebody might be thinking, what are you talking about, Gah? You're just being dramatic. These little piles aren't going to make a difference. The structure's way over there. It's not going to spread from here to there. Yeah, that's probably true, but why have these piles of flammable things inside my safe zone when I just don't need to have these piles here inside my safe zone? This reminds me of what a certain controversial but seemingly intelligent guy likes to say. Clean up your own room before you start telling other people what to do. Looks like I have some cleaning to do. I just left all this junk around here for demonstration purposes so I can make this video about it. Yeah, that's it. Somebody might be thinking, you're just being a drama queen, an out of control, overly cautious safety Sally. Okay, Mr. East Coast guy who goes into burn bans because you haven't had rain for 3.5 weeks. When we talk about high wildfire danger out here, we commonly go 4, 5, 6 months in the summer with no rain at all. Temperatures in the 90s and hundreds, humidities in the teens and single digits, uphill both ways. I think a lot of people don't really understand what we mean when we talk about how flammable things get here on the West Coast. Some parts of the country you could probably get away with 20 feet of defensible space. Out here, I'm going with 100 yards. But what if I don't have enough land to make 100 yards of defensible space, or for whatever reason, I just can't do 100 yards? Well, if you can't do 100 yards, the answer to that is you can't do it. Do what you can. If the hang-up is you have neighbors in the way, well, maybe you can get them on board. The good thing about that is they're in charge of doing all the work on their side of the fence. They'll make defensible space for you. You won't have to. But I know sometimes neighbors can be neighbors. That could be easier said than done. And I do know I have a situation here it's a good case scenario. Not everyone can do what I've done here. We all have different situations, and all you can do is all you can do. but I think it's at least good to do all you can do. We could go much deeper into this subject. We could talk about topography, prevailing winds, how to know which direction a fire is most likely to come from, or which direction a more intense fire is likely to come from, which can be helpful in knowing which areas to prioritize and how to make your defensible space based on those variables. But from what I've seen, these kind of videos just don't get that many views. But if there is interest, we could go much deeper down the rabbit hole. Let's take a look at that fire on the other side of the mountain, see what it's up to today. Doesn't look like it's up to much. Looks like they might be getting it under control, even after the winds are starting to pick up a little bit. That's too far away to be any kind of danger here, but there are a lot of homes in that area. I think they may have dodged a bullet. And I'm not talking about the good kind of bullet that moves slowly and does nice things to you when it hits you. I'm talking about the bad kind of bullet that moves really fast and does really bad things to you when it hits you. That's the kind of bullet they dodged. I better get back to working on this container. Actually, I probably should start cleaning up this mess. Yeah.